So before we get accused of having all Toronto bias, and then later on be accused of having all Montreal bias, let's get accused of having all Colorado bias and talk about.
Okay, just a second. There's one thing I want to say here. I put two fingers up like this, but there's one thing I want to say here, and that is, and it's got nothing to do with any of these.
And that
series,
is,
okay?
Here's the church, here's the steeple.
The steeple, yeah.
The
doors, and here's the people. No, this has nothing to do with any of the series. But what's really chafing me these days is the general managers get to vote on the Jim Gregory Award, right? The GM of the year. They get to wait until the Stanley Cup final to do their voting, right?
Right.
Okay, so if they had to do it right after the season, like Bill Zito would probably win.
Yeah,
right?
Probably.
He would come. He'd be a finalist. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen now because they have the benefit of having seen what happened in the first two rounds and now the first three rounds. Whereas the writers, when they make their pick, Austin Matthews is almost certainly going to win the Hart Trophy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And or it could happen any year. A guy, like it happens with Coach of the Year all the time, right? They pick a guy and then he ends up losing in the first round. So it's not fair. It's just not fair. They should have to pick their guy after the regular season, just like everybody else. And so, they end up looking really good because they end up picking the guy that they should pick, whereas they've got the benefit of the first three rounds and we don't. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
What a shock that the organization stacked the cards in their favor instead of yours.
Yeah.
Have you not experienced life yet, Ken? Have you not noticed that this is a constant throughout everything?
Exactly. The man always wins.
Yeah. I walked, you walk into a car dealership and you think you're happy getting $1,500 off of the sticker price. Come on.
Yeah.
They're going, oh no, you're taking food out of my kid's mouth.
Or they'll be like,
sign here.
Or they'll be like, I'm going to get into lots of trouble for this.
Oh yeah. Let me talk to the manager. Yeah.
I don't do this for anybody, but I'll do it for you. Just because, and I'm going to get into loads of trouble for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that referring to general managers as used car salesmen might get us in a little trouble for this one. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the St. Louis Blues versus the Colorado Avalanche.
Right.
Tell me.
What's that?
I said, tell me what you're thinking. I want to pick your brain.
As you will remember, I said that the Colorado Avalanche had a 100% chance of winning this series.
Bet you're feeling pretty stupid now.
Oh yeah. Like I didn't think this series was ever going to be close because of the way the two teams play. But now it's just the chasm is so much bigger because Nazem Kadri just decided to stick it up there, in Game 4. And put on a vintage performance. I don't know if, there's probably the few people who are listening to this, none of them were born in 1956 because not even I was born in 1956. But in 1956, there was a series between the Leafs and the Detroit Red Wings, and Ted Lindsay got death threats during that series. And then after the last game, after he scored the winning goal in the last game, he went to center ice to Maple Leaf Gardens and took his stick like a gun and started pretending to shoot. And I thought Nazem Kadri should have done that after Game 4. Just, pulled a complete Ted Lindsay. And to me, it's not fair because St. Louis, you can't hit what you can't catch. You can't do anything to what you can't catch. And, Colorado's just not letting them play that heavy down low game that they want to play. And St. Louis is just, they're a team that's, they lost it after the Binnington thing. Like, they talked about how, we can't have this be a distraction. We got to concentrate on the game, and that. And then what's the first thing they do? They go after Nazem Kadri. Like Braden Shen chases him around the ice and tries to fight him. David Perron and whoever else it was, get that stupid double penalty on him. And Kadri, meanwhile, is just like skating away, not having anything to do with it, showing some real maturity in the face of what was actually a really, really ugly thing, and he's shown a lot of grace here, and good on him for doing that. Yeah. I mean, I would be surprised if this series goes past tonight, but it was a series that was never going to be close in the first place, and now the chasm is even bigger.
What Kadri has faced is just disgusting. It's beyond disgusting, and it's saddening that this is still happening in hockey in 2022, but nevertheless it is. And I don't know. There's so little to say about it that I almost hesitate to bring it up, but it is nevertheless, I think, worth being brought up for that sake. But you're right. Kadri is putting on an incredible show. He had an incredible year this year. I don't know if you remember, but at one point in the year, he led the league in goals per 60 or something like that. Yeah. And, it was just, he's had an incredible year. He's putting up an incredible performance.
Well, he carried them in the regular season. He was a big reason why they were so good during the regular season. They had some
with all the injuries that they had.
Injuries to Nathan McKinnon. They had injuries to Gabriel Landeskog, and he stepped up and he was the guy. He was their guy. Yeah.
The one thing that I want to say though about the Kadri thing is I really rubbed me the wrong way when Berube said no comment.
Yeah, that one's received a lot of play, right? And actually, Jared Bednar addressed it after the game, and he said, "You know what? We don't need to comment on everything that's out there, and if we choose to not comment, it's fine." He had no problem with it, but then you look at something that's a little bigger than the game here.
This is bigger
and
than
the
hockey.
Silence from the St. Louis side is actually deafening now. Like it's deafening. Berube doesn't say anything. A couple of the players do, and
David Perron did.
They said something, and the organization hasn't said anything. So it is kind of, but I don't know. Like, is it going to change anything if Craig Berube comes out and says this is horrible and it has no place in hockey? Like,
I think it does. It does. And I'll tell you what it does. I'll tell you what it changes. What it changes is that some kid who's watching hockey right now and he's playing U12 AA or something like that, and he or she is deciding whether they want to go further into hockey, and let's say that they are a person of color, and they see Craig Berube say no comment, then they say, well, the hell am I doing here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just open season then? Forget it. Even if Craig Berube said something very milquetoast and like, I'm not aware of all of the information and exactly what happened, but if something did happen, then like, even if it was the most lawyered up comment, it's still something. Like,
I don't know that it's anywhere near being enough, but
of course it's not enough, but it's still something. So that really bothers me because I think about the kid that's watching the sport and the fact that they are watching this and saying, I mean, you wrote an article on it, right? You wrote an article on that suspension that happened to the fellow in the IIHF after the incident last year. And what you said, and I thought it was an incredible point, was we say that we have zero tolerance for this and that it has no place in the game. Yet by suspending somebody for 10 games, we're saying it does have a place in the game.
Right. Yeah.
It has in 10 games, it's back. Right. And so, or whatever the suspension was, it was 17 games or something along those lines. Anyways, it's happened a long time ago. I'm in full playoff mode. Nothing else in the hockey world, So all I'm saying is that there, I know it's such a trite argument to say, what about the children or think of the children? But truly, there are kids that are going to watch this and are going to say, so what you're telling me is that there's no place for me because I'm open season.
Right. Well, and Nazem Kadri actually addressed that after the game 4, and he said, he says, I'm okay, but he says what I'm worried about is the kid, who's maybe not as mentally as tough as I am, and is going through some of the same sort of stuff, and so he did address that. Yeah. And good on him for doing that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I always laugh at this expression because then I think about a joke about it in Frasier, but the best revenge is living well.
Yeah. Yeah.
To which Niles said, yes, but you don't hear a lot of opera plots, written about that, Enraged by the poisoning death of his family, Lufkin took his revenge in the second act by living well. But truly, Nazem Kadri is doing that, and it's unfortunate, it doesn't even begin to describe it, but that he has to do that. But he's really showing a lot of grace under pressure, and good on him.
Like, isn't there something that law enforcement can do about these yahoos? Like they do it in soccer when a soccer guy has something like that happen to him. Like, I think they end up like charging these guys,
Well, we have hate crime laws in Canada, and I don't think that they have hate crime laws in most places in America. I think that they consider a breach of freedom of speech, whereas we say, no, I'm sorry, you can't say I hate all blank people or stuff like that. Like that's against our law. So I don't know that there's a lot of legal recourse, but I mean, like I agree with you. Like, at what point is it a situation where if that happened in, let's say, a round 2 matchup of the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche, if that happened in Edmonton, at what point do the police just walk in and say, I'm sorry, you broke the law live on TV? For the whole world to see.
Like, and this is like the stuff. This is the stuff we've seen. Can you imagine the stuff we haven't seen?
Absolutely.
Like, can you imagine what teams are dealing with every single day? Like I think a person on Twitter today referenced all of the Kadri stuff, and they said, it was Saskia Stewart, and she used to do the social media for the Leafs. And she said, this doesn't surprise me at all. She said, this is not even close to, how bad it actually was, you know? So.
Yeah. So anyways, Nazem Kadri definitely moved himself up several pegs in my mind for all this. But the last thing that I want to say on this point is your point about Ted Lindsay and the stick gun, as it were. The thing that I love about this is that if Kadri were to do something like this, you know that there would be a lot of old-timey hockey people that would be like, this is disgusting, and they wouldn't do that back in the day.
Yeah.
This is showboating. Nobody ever showboated before 1999.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nope, not correct.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah.